Fox's story of the week is Boston's mayor is currently fighting ICE while running for re-election. My thoughts on this. So first thing I'd like to point out, whether you support ICE's actions, whether you don't support ICE's actions, Boston's going to decide. I mean, at the end of the day, she's fighting them. She's saying that we're a sanctuary city, they're a protected class, we don't want you coming in here. And look, at the end of the day, obviously enforcing immigration is important. I think most people would agree with that. If you have no laws, you've got a lawless society. So at the end of the day, it seems important, at least to me, to enforce your immigration laws. Now, maybe they're not doing it in a moral way. Maybe they're doing it inhumanely. Those are both obviously concerns. But from just the pure standpoint of ICE deporting people, I mean, somehow it's got to happen. If you're going to enforce the law, somehow it's got to happen. I would say this, though. I would say this. I do think it's important to let people within reason make their own decisions, especially if they have the ability. So I don't think you could make this argument when we're talking about someone that lives in a rural area of West Virginia or Kentucky. But with an example of Boston, if you live in Boston, you're choosing to live in Boston. If you live in Miami or in South Florida on a beach, you choose to live in those places. You have enough money to move really anywhere in the United States you want. If you're living in those places, obviously you're making a lot of money. You could choose to do that somewhere else. So anyone that is living in Boston and voting for this mayor, any negative repercussions that these people are facing due to them not enforcing immigration law, they have to face it. And unlike the people in Western Kentucky or Southern West Virginia, those people don't really have an option to leave. So I think that is more important for the government, the federal government, to step in and say, look, you can't just do whatever you want. My personal opinion is I think within reason, we should let the local communities and also states, but more specifically local communities, county by county, kind of do whatever they want. Some exceptions, obviously. Nobody would, even if you're a libertarian, nobody would say, yeah, we should let people just assault and murder people, because that's what the majority of our county said. So obviously there are going to be some exceptions, but with something like immigration and illegal immigrants and sanctuary status, I think it's just, I personally think it should just be up to the cities. Look, if Los Angeles, if Boston, if Chicago, if they want to have illegal immigrants in their cities and the people keep voting for Pritzker or this mayor in Boston, that's what the people want. I think you should let the people get what they want. I do think that if a city, there really aren't any Republican cities, but let's say Oklahoma City, that's probably the most Republican city. If they say we want ICE help, we want ICE to eradicate every single illegal immigrant in our city, in our state, I think that's fine. I think the states and counties should be able to rely on the government to help on issues that can't really be done at a state level. Obviously, police cannot be deporting people. So I think that's kind of how these things should be managed. And at the end of the day, like, she is, if the city approves of these actions and votes for her again, then they want her. It's kind of the same thing with New York City with Mamdani, who is probably going to win. Look, if the people vote for him, the people should get what they want. I say this in both directions, whether it's the president, whether it's a governor, whether it's a senator, et cetera, et cetera. I think when people vote for representatives, they should get the full breadth of what that person wants to do. I think they should have pretty much full autonomy, and we should be able to see, okay, I voted for this J.B. Pritzker, and I want to see if he has full reign, if he doesn't have to fight judges, if he doesn't have to do X, Y, Z. I want to see what he's going to do. And if he sucks as much as Republicans say, if the Boston mayor, if illegal immigrants are such a big deal, then the city will deteriorate over the next 5 to 10 years, and then you'll have a Republican dynasty. And vice versa. If illegal immigrants are great for the community, and if it boosts the GDP, and everybody's living great, and healthcare doesn't, if everything goes well with the illegal immigrants, then Boston will be the prime city, and everybody will look for them. And I just think that's how it should work. We should be able to see policies implemented without, Boston wants to do this, but then Trump comes over the top, but then the judicial system comes over the top of Trump, and then Boston comes back. It's like, this is just a complete mess. I think we should let them do what they want. If it doesn't work, cool. If it does work, that's also cool. I do think that at the local levels, they should have more autonomy.